Yo, what is up guys? It is Ripper and here with a new video for y'all today. And today is going to be a different type of video, mainly because the topic is not anything gaming. It is nothing about, new and upcoming games, new and upcoming NFL, none of that. This is actually going to be a topic I really wish people were talking more about, but also talking about in a perspective of just not okay, well, here's the finance side of it. Here's the overall structure. I actually kind of want to have just like a real, if you're watching this, we're talking person to person, and I'm able to kind of give you some genuine advice about moving on your own, for your first time, because a lot of people, they move out from their parents, grandparents, whatever your living situation is. You move from your previous household with family members to a apartment or house or condo, whatever, on your own. And a lot of people are like, okay, let's get real complex here. You have your finances, you have your emotional, you have blah, blah, blah. You have all these list of things. There's one thing they don't really talk about, and I really want to talk about that in today's video, and that is the personal, actual perspective of it, right? Because yes, we're going to talk about the finances in this video, but I really want to focus and harp on the actual personal aspect of it, such as your emotions, such as your decisions, such as things you're going to miss and run out on, that I think are super, super important to talk about, because in today's world with mental health and depression and a bunch of things being real and being set, right, we need to really take care of each other. We really need to watch out for each other. And this video, I hope, helps. So let's just start with the overall beginning aspect of it. Okay, so the foundational part. So when you first decide to move it, that's a super big decision. If you're making that decision, I want to say congrats. So you're in that stage of, all right, I'm moving out, I need to plan. Okay, number one, you're going to, depending on your situation, if you're moving far, you have to be able to put money aside to be able to move far distance. If you're moving close, like I was, luckily, and I'm very grateful for that, it was not too bad. Just hire some quick movers. It was maybe a couple $100 we moved, and we got out, and I was able to move stuff in. Now, when I moved in, there was other things I had to think about. You need to make sure to really, really try to be able to get the cheapest / most free things possible for when you first move in. Meaning your couches, your chairs, your desk, your lights, parents, right? Parents sometimes will offer to give you utensils, bowls, plates, things that, number one, you don't need fancy things to start. You don't need anything crazy, right? You don't need any of that, I need high-end things. No, you don't. Trust me, you don't. You could survive with some plastic things. You could survive with some plastic cups, some plastic bowls, some plastic plates. You don't need all the glass, the breakable things. You don't need that. That's things you can worry about getting later on in life. Trust me. I promise you, just do it. It will save you money. So that's kind of the route I did, right? I bought a bunch of plastic things. Funny thing too, and obviously I upgraded my stuff later on because I've lived here for a year now. We're coming up to a year. And obviously I've upgraded some stuff, but I used plastic cups for at least 6-7 months straight. No glass or anything. And obviously, like I said, one of the points I brought up about being able to take things from your parents that they're offering to give you, such as utensils and things like that. So, highly recommend that. Things like microwaves, your bowls, your plates, and utensils. If they offer it, the point is, be sure to take it, whether it's beat up or not. Trust me, you will thank me later. Now, the other finance part is furniture, right? Again, this is just a similar topic of, if you can get free things, hand-me-down things, take it. I got a hand-me-down couch. I love it. I don't mind it. I then the one thing I invested in was my bed. That was the big furniture thing I invested in, was a bed, a mattress, bed frame, all that. And fully 100% worth it. But again, that's one of the things that I purposely put money aside knowing I had to do. Now, if you can get a hand-me-down bed, or you bring in a bed with you or whatever, do it, start with that, and then invest in something like that later. That is totally up to you. Okay. Now, the other last financing I want to talk about, besides the physical things in the house, is your bills and utilities. Be sure to really, really, really break down a notepad in your phone, for example, right? Take your phone in a notepad, break down all your expenses, all your finances. I know it sounds tedious. I promise it is tedious, but it is worth it. You get to then break down your monthly bills you have to pay. What do you get for groceries? What money do you get for groceries? What money do you get for fun spending money, which we'll get to, and things like that. So it helps you understand your priorities versus just wants. Now, something I just mentioned was your fun, your fun spending money. Really trying to minimize that to the most lowest number you can do. Don't start off with, oh, I'm going to be saving $200, right? Say in your paychecks, after all your bills are put aside, you get $200 to your savings. Don't take the $200 and be like, yeah, I'm taking the full $200 and just spending it. My honest advice, take 50% of that, which is $100. Then take whatever you have left of the $100 that you're going to have for that spending. Only take what you know you're really going to actually use of it, and only take that. And then my rule of thumb is, say you take the $100 and say you only use $60 of the $100 for fun. Then you take that $40 you didn't spend, put it to your savings, then take the next $100 the next week. Do the same system. So you're still taking the full $100, but whatever you don't spend for that $100, you're putting right back into your savings, and you're able to invest that into something important later on. So that's my boring finance side of the perspective, but it is something that is important, and I'm not going to put to the side. Now, I want to talk about the real thing. So that this is gonna maybe be a little deep for some people, and I fully understand if this is really deep for you and maybe too much to talk about. I understand if you click off, but I really hope you guys get to stay and actually listen and hear me out, okay? When you move out, specifically on your own, there's a few things that I didn't see anybody talk about. And I watched a couple videos, and I think this is something that really is hard to really understand, and that is the emotional side of it. So I'm going to give you my own personal story first, and hopefully my story can give you a little bit of insight of how it went. So when I moved out, I was 24, I think it was 23, 24, one of those. And when I moved about 5 minutes away from my mom. Okay. Now, luckily I didn't move far away from my family, but that's the point aside. The point is, I moved by myself, nobody around, and I didn't have anybody really here to spend time with me that much. And so I get lonely, right? We all get lonely in life. And it really is, it's a really hard mental thing that you have to go through, meaning you're going to have your days that you're really up and happy, and your days that you're really just down and sad. There's no really, at least I've never experienced middle. You're either really happy or you're really sad. And I can tell you personally, when I moved, it was a scary experience, because I was thinking, oh, how am I going to financially survive? You know, the rent's this, the utility bill's this, the groceries are this. And then I had to think, and I have nobody here personally to talk about this to in person, unless I wanted to drive to talk to my mom or call over the phone to call my mom. There's nobody in person I can really talk to while I was here. And that was my kind of initial beginning stage of moving. And it was scary. Now, it was not the roughest part of moving yet, and we're going to get to that. But that was the start of it. And so then time goes by. I had a really kind of unhappy moment of my life happen, and I'm not going to get into that to this video, but a really personal thing happened in my life. And the next thing I know, I'm having to deal with a personal thing while also still dealing with the stress, not having anybody to talk to, not being able to have anybody to really see in the morning, to really break down what's going on and how my mind's thinking, and not be able to hug somebody when you wake up, or be able to hug somebody during the day sometimes, right? It's just you. And it sounds weird, but it's like, you'd be surprised what physical touch does for people. Like, physical touch is super important as a human, and I hope people can understand that aspect. And if you're someone who's not, then that's fine. But someone like me, that's super important, right? So you go through all these different trial and errors when you live on your own, such as not having people around to hang out with sometimes, not having people around to talk to, not having people around that you can physically like stare at face to face and have a conversation with. And that's something that you have to be able to do, right? Now, again, we're going to get to the pros, I promise, after this topic, because there are pros to living on your own, and we're going to get to them. But there are the bad parts, and that's why I really want to focus on this, so you guys can understand and not be like, oh, everything's happy and great. And it's not, okay? If anybody tells you that, they're lying, I promise you. So going on, when you have the situations of not having the people around to talk to, you really have to stay mentally strong. And being somebody who I went through a really bad patch of depression when moving here, when it first happened. Let me put it this way. With the combination of things that happened, plus me living on my own, not having anybody, that was a real dark path of my life. It was a really dark. I couldn't stand anything. Everything was kind of cold to me, and I just never woke up happy. But then, and I'm very grateful for it, I have a very amazing group of friends. And they were able to help me get to where I am now, where I genuinely am happy where I'm at. I'm happy living on my own. I'm happy being who I am. But again, it took me having that friend group. So some of my advice would be, if you're living on your own, talk to your friends on your phone. Grab your phone. Be like, hey, listen, what's up? Talk to them. Call them. If you have online friends like I do, right? Like I talk to my friends on Discord and all that stuff. I get in Discord calls with them. I hang out with them. I chill with them. And that's a way for me to just, escape the reality, but still be able to have people around me to communicate with and be able to talk real shit with. You know what I mean? Like, make sure to not have friends where it's like, it's bad if you talk about real life. Like, I have friends that do, we always talk about real life shit, about good, bads, uglies, and we all support each other. Like, I would take a bullet for every single one of my friends because they are like brothers to me. You know what I mean? So it's like things like that where you're able to build that bond with people. It's super, super crucial. And whether that be in person or online, okay, I'll make that clear, because you could be someone who's a really, really social person. You go out, you make some, IRL friends constantly. Great. For me, that's not me. I'm not a big social party, drinking at a bar, getting piss-faced drunk. Like, I'm not that type of guy. I'm one of the people where I like chilling at home, relaxing, watching movies, playing games on the computer, and also just being calls with people. So for me, that's my way of making friends, socializing, all that. But again, the point of this is that you do things like that to help yourself not be alone, okay? And I really think that's important. Now, let me give a few tips after all that. Let me give a few tips that I think helped me. And that is, when you're at home, play some music in the background. When you're doing things, play some music in the background so you have other noises going around. Now, I even work from home, meaning it's even worse because I don't leave my home. So it's like I'm at home by myself, probably even more. It'd be 18, 19 hours a day. Like, I'm at home alone 18, 19 hours a day by myself, nobody here, just me. Meaning I need things to be able to distract me. So like, that's why a big thing for me is I have music always on in the background. I have the TV on with like a show, a Netflix show on or something, just some form of background noise. So I'm not just me. It's not just me talking, or it's not just me, trying to listen to the quietness around me, because trust me, it doesn't help. So really try to like do little tricks to maybe trick your brain to feel like you aren't alone, or trick your brain to just make sure there's other noises. And so that's super, super helpful. And the last advice I could give that could help with loneliness and especially depression is, don't hide from it. Don't put it down. Like, really find your weak point and really build off of it and try to heal it. And that's a big thing I think people need to realize is, you're going to find out who you really are when you move on your own. You're going to find out the good and the bad. You're going to find out the sad and the happy of you. And when you find it out, you may not like some parts of it. I'm going to be fully honest. You're not. You're going to find some things that you're like, I never knew that about yourself. Or I never knew that I could feel that way. I never knew that I would ever feel that way. And I really hope that when you guys see that about yourself, you're like, okay, this isn't always negative. This is something I can build off of and fill in the cracks and heal. And I hope that you guys can follow that path and you'll be very proud of yourself of who you become. I promise you that. Now, negatives aside, let's talk about some pros. And I think there is a good amount. So one of the big pros for me is, when you're on your own, let's just be honest, things are cheaper. I'm just going to point out the obvious here. Living on your own, you don't need as much stuff. You don't need a lot of, extra things in your life. Groceries can still be cheaper, obviously. I mean, to give you guys an aspect, I spend probably $120 and below in groceries per week. I don't go over 120. I only spend 120. I'm good. So there are certain financial obvious aspects of living on your own. You don't have to buy as much furniture if you don't want to, all that stuff. And I'm not saying don't live in a bare empty apartment. I'll make that very clear when I say those words. Please don't live in an apartment where it's just a literal like cardboard box, a pop-up chair, and a television on the ground. Like, don't do that. I really mean, like, buy furniture. Get a couch, get a little TV stand to put your TV on, get some form of a kitchen table. Like, guys, I don't even have a kitchen table. You know what I have? I have little stands that I'm able to like put on the side and make it look nice to the couch, but also be able to eat off them if I need something to eat, right? Or I have my breakfast bar, right? So please, please, please do me a favor. Don't be a college guy and live in a cardboard box, flip up chair and TV on the ground guy with no form of furniture, no form of microwaves, toasters, like where it's literally just 3 things in the apartment. Just don't be that guy. I promise you. How do I put this nicely? If you ever want a partner, no one's ever going to want that. Just going to be brutally honest. I'm sorry if that hurts. But jokes aside, a big thing for me is, yes, financially, I should say, it is cheaper. The second and third pro, the second is, in my opinion, when you actually go to bed, it's nice and it's peaceful because you don't have other people around you at times. So yes, there are some days when you go to bed, and this could be a pro con for certain people. And some days it's nice because you don't have anyone around you. You just kind of have peace, the quiet, the calmness. Then there's nights where, yes, you're like, oh, I wish I had somebody here, because you do get lonely. So that could be a pro and a con depending on the day. But that is still a form of a pro because you do get the nice relaxation. And also you get a full bed to yourself. I mean, you get the center of the bed if you really want. Nobody can tell you, hey, scoot over, let me take the blanket. Like, you get the bed just to yourself. That is a super nice aspect. Trust me, don't take it for granted. I'm gonna put it that way. Don't take it for granted. Now, the last pro that I think is super, super nice is, and can again be maybe a con to some people, but you can also be able to go more places a lot of times for a cheaper cost because you don't have to pay for anybody. Now, there's some scenarios where you live on your own, you have a partner, then that's different. You know, you still have to essentially put at a cost for somebody. But a lot of times people move on their own for the first time. It's a lot of times they're just single people moving alone, right? And so when you're single and alone, you could build and get the most basic essential things you need for an apartment, and then you have all this extra spending money that you can go travel to a different state, travel to a different country, drive every weekend to somewhere new, right? And that you get that financial benefit, which is super, super nice. And I think it's something that we need to think about. Let me put it that way. Something we need to think about when you're thinking about the financial side, but also thinking about, when I live alone, am I just going to stay at home every day? If that's your case, don't do that. I promise it's better to just travel somewhere, have some fun, go somewhere different, right? I did this trend, and let me give you this, an idea, I guess you could say. So what I did when I first moved is every weekend I went somewhere new. I went to Milwaukee, I went to Green Bay, I went to Appleton, I went to Two Rivers. I went to all these different places and I got to travel. And then the other thing I would recommend is when you do that, try to make it where you're going and you have a full, like, kind of a schedule planned of fun activities, fun things to do. So again, you aren't just going and doing nothing. You're going and you have like a schedule plan. So yes, moving alone can be hard. Moving alone can be difficult. Moving alone can emotionally be super, super difficult when it comes to your mental health, depression, and your happiness, right? So I really want you to focus on the concept of try to better yourself every day. Wake up knowing that it's a new day. Waking up knowing that with every new day that you get, take it as a form of, take it as a form of gratitude, and really try to improve yourself. Make the next day better than the previous day is a good way to put it. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts below. Let me know if you have any tips or advice that I didn't say in this video for anybody moving alone. And if you are moving alone for your first time, again, congrats. It's a super big step and milestone in life. And in the comments, as a community, please put below your thoughts advice you would give to people. And if you're one of the people that are moving alone, go to the comments and please go check them out. Guys, I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are the most amazing community in the world. I love you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one. Peace and love, Team Ripper.